Now, Volkswagen, they've always taken us auto enthusiasts seriously, not just because they've given us the Polo R Cup 1 Make Racing Series, but also because in the last 4-5 years, they've given us 3 hot hatches based on the Polo platform. There was the 1.6 petrol, the 1.2 TSI petrol, and of course the 1.6 TDI, the GT TDI. However, the Polo has got an update very recently, which means that it is only natural that the GT Twins also receive an upgrade. And here it is, the new GT Twins. The new GTs have the same design revision seen on the updated Polo. So you now get the double barrel headlights and the new fog lamps and bumper. Unique to the GT line is the roof spoiler and the grille badging, which has now moved towards the right. So the next time you pull a legal overtake, the oncoming traffic is going to know that yours is the sportier Polo. Compared to the previous GT TDI, the new one benefits from the new 1.5-litre TDI CR mill that debuted on the new Polo. This one, however, has a slightly different state of tune. It produces 105 PS of power and 250 Newton meters of torque. And apart from the higher power and torque figures, the torque is dialed in at slightly lesser RPM as compared to the one that we saw in the Polo 1.5. Just like the previous GT TDI, even this one doesn't get an option of an automatic. You have a 5-speed manual gearbox, and that too benefits from all the tuning changes that we saw in the Polo 1.5. So the gearbox is smooth, the throws are quite confident, and like I said, it's tuned for better mid-range and low-end. Top-end again is quite decent, but that mid-range is what you're going to love the most. Now, unlike the GT TDI, which gets a new diesel engine, the GT TSI continues to use the 1.2-litre turbo petrol that puts out about 105 PS of power and 175 Newton meters of torque. Now, on paper, this vehicle is only about 40 kilos lighter than the GT TDI, but when you're out driving it, it feels a lot more lighter. It feels very nimble, very agile as compared to the GT TDI. It feels like a very light vehicle. A 1.2-litre engine may not sound that big, but the turbocharging, that is what makes it so much fun, because there's a lot of torque, a lot of power to play around with in the mid-range. So you're never really battling for that power. And the moment you step on the throttle, it just quickly wants to get to that red line. It's a very free revving engine. So out of the two, needless to say, this is the more fun car to drive. Another interesting bit of this TSI mill is the fuel economy. Now, compared to the diesel, the GT TDI, which claims 19.91 kilometers per litre, this, despite being a petrol, claims 17.21, and that is down to the turbocharging. Because there's a turbocharger, the engine doesn't need to work as hard as a naturally aspirated engine to gain speed. It doesn't need to rev higher. So even at lower revs, it can easily trot around in city traffic and maintain a decent cruising speed out on the highways. So that sort of fuel economy should be achievable. But it's not just the fun aspect, the kind of kit that this car comes with. For example, this gets the DSG, the dual clutch gearbox, which again is a very quick gearbox. It's the same one that we tried in the Rapid. It's the same one that the GT TSI got earlier as well. Like I said, a very quick gearbox, whether you're in drive mode or in sport mode, it's very quick to respond. Both the GTs get a new suspension and steering setup that debuted with the Polo update. So you have a new steering setup that is slightly more precise than the outgoing model. The GT TSI also comes with a traction control system, so should you go a little too overboard in slippery situations like we are in right now, it will help you keep things in check. Let me show you how. Well, Volkswagen wasn't convinced with my demonstration, so they decided to give us their own. So we put the GTs through some autocross challenges on a wet and slippery airfield. While the diesel was better suited for challenges with tighter turns thanks to the manual transmission, the TSI proved to be faster on the slaloms and the longer stretches thanks to the traction control and the more eager engine. By now you would feel that the GT TDI would be more practical than the GT TSI, and well, that is partly true. But if you want to flaunt that GT badge, only then and then will you buy that TDI, because it offers very little on top of that Polo 1.5. But if you want to have real fun, if you want a real hot hatch, I think the Polo GT TSI, that's the one to buy.